Hi, this is Abby here, and I'm going to be reviewing over a PowerPoint project that I had done with Bree, going over our Devices in the Classroom lecture from Dr. Moots. So this is just going to be a short overview of what we learned in class that day. So to begin, he gave us an introduction, and in it he included some positives and negatives of devices in the classroom. So first of all, we have to understand the role of technology in classroom environments and how we can use it to help utilize it in the classroom and engage students and motivate them. We have to understand and perceive the integral nature of devices to the 21st century classroom. We have to understand that technology is part of the modern world and environment. It's not going away, so we have to figure out how to utilize it in a way that will help us rather than just hoping it'll go away, and how we can explore methods of supplementing, motivating, and engaging the students in the learning process. He also gave us some educational statistics. According to Mid-America Nazarene University, 73% of teachers believe that technology in the last 5 years has improved the classroom. 79% of educators agree on a daily use of devices, and 31% in particular utilize Google Chromebooks. As far as tablets go, most use iPads in regards to tablets. And as of 2016, the majority of teachers were enthusiastic about the use of devices in the classroom. So this sort of negates the common belief that teachers and educators are opposed to devices and technology in the classroom. In reality, many are enthusiastic about it, and they do see it as a goal of utilizing the classroom learning environment and motivating students. What is the main use of it? Well, as of 2016, studies revealed that it was just a supplement. In 2019, studies show that it's become even more instructional in nature than would commonly be believed. Next, we can see the potential of utilizing devices in the classroom. And from it we can get motivation and engagement. One way of looking at it is that many of the students today, especially any student that you're going to have in K-5 or above, typically has grown up using technology. They've grown up with television, they've grown up with a DS, a laptop, iPads, tablets, Kindles, all of these types of things. They're comfortable using them for the most part, and they know how to use them sometimes better than we do. So in a sense, this familiarity with technology creates a compatibility, and it allows them to be able to use it in such a way that they are able to learn something from it. It's also important to understand that we live in a device-driven environment. Everyone is practically using technology. It also can expand your use of online courses. As of today, anyone just about could go online and do an entire 12 years worth of school online and graduate and everything. So this can extend to just online students. This can extend to homeschooled students. It affects a variety of different people's groups and how they use such devices. But as a whole, technology has expanded our ability to go online and learn and gain degrees and such. Online courses and devices can also adapt to students' abilities. So if a student is struggling and maybe they're behind, then it can slow down and reach them where they're at. If a student is really on top of things, they're really ahead, they understand and grasp things really well, and they're hungry to learn more, it can also speed up with their abilities and where they're at in learning. Also, the information online and with ebooks is often more current than what you might find in a book. Encyclopedias are very useful, and they contain a lot of knowledge and such, but with encyclopedias and textbooks and stuff and things of that nature, often schools aren't able to update them as often as possible, so it is harder for them to really give updated information as is necessary. Going online and getting ebooks and recent news articles and journals and academic journals and articles and things like that of such nature really allows students the best access to current information. Additionally, it is often more cost-effective and resourceful than buying and purchasing a large amount of textbooks. And not to mention, it does build technological skills for the future. It's important to understand that students we have now are going to grow up in a world where they have to have these skills. And unlike many adults who haven't quite totally conquered these skills and abilities on technology, these students are growing up with them, and it will better prepare them for their future workplace environments and jobs, or just to have them as practical skills of their own. There are some negative aspects, namely these would be like classroom distractions. Obviously, with any online device, laptop, computer, Chromebook, what have you, students are going to be tempted to use it for purposes other than assigned tasks. They might want to go on social media, they might want to go look on Pinterest or read a blog or try to play a video game or something. That fact does exist, and it's probably not going to change unless you can block internet access or block games or block social media. So unfortunately, that is a downside to having technology in the classroom. Additionally, internet access can be unstable. You don't know when it might go down, and that makes it very difficult, obviously, to access online resources or information or courses. Unfortunately, cyberbullying can also occur directly in the classroom when you do have these different methods of online use. And this is an unfortunate side effect. It's also something that educators need to be aware of so that they can combat it taking place in their classroom. And lastly, students' distraction may lead to others becoming distracted as well. If you have one student going to play a video game, going on Pinterest, and somebody else sees them and someone else sees them, they can kind of have a domino effect and they all get distracted. So it is something to be aware of when you do have technology and devices in the classroom with your students. Alright, and then we can also see that it leads to a lack of problem-solving skills, critical thinking, and imagination. Unfortunately, this is a downside to using devices. They can hinder learning. They can help learning, but they can hinder it as well. It reduces logical thinking, and in a way it can result in service-level learning rather than very in-depth knowledge. Because we have access to so many different resources and so much information, it's almost too much to the degree that we can just read a certain amount about this, that, and the other, and not really get a very, very strong, foundation of knowledge about what we need to know. Also, the division of attention between technology, such as a laptop or a Chromebook or an iPad, and then the lecture, the teacher speaking, can contribute to a lack of retention. If you're not totally focused on what the teacher's saying, it might be hard to totally understand what you need to know, retain it, and really conceptualize it. It can also contribute to a loss of communication skills. It might have students having a hard time with eye contact. They might have a low attention span. It creates an inability to really hold conversation. Sometimes they lack social awareness because they are so involved on their device, and they may lack interest in human interaction. As educators, as parents, as leaders, we need to be aware of this, try to help combat that in a positive and engaging way. Reflect that to our students by not having these attributes ourselves, and then being vocal about making good eye contact. If you're having trouble keeping attention, then to really try to stay on topic, stay focused, help them hold conversation, and be aware of those around them and how they can interact better. Lastly, we see teacher preparation, and this is a very, very critical thing to be aware of when you are looking at these devices in the classroom. One thing to be aware of is that it does create a steep learning curve for educators. The teacher, if they're going to introduce technology in the classroom, has to understand the app or the website or the new ebook or just different educational tool that they're trying to introduce to students. They have to understand it themselves. They have to understand it better. They have to be able to apply it to their students and figure out how to really get the student engaged with it and use it for their own practical purposes. And then they have to really understand what they're presenting to them. And if they don't, then it may be hard for the student to understand it themselves. And one key thing here that we are reminded of is to be familiar with what we are trying to present to the students. If it's not something we're familiar with, then it may be hard for them to really get acquainted with it if we don't understand it. So be familiar with what you're presenting, and if you need to stick to the basic things that you're close with and you understand for now, do that. In conclusion, we can kind of see that there needs to be a balance in how we approach technological use in the classrooms. Educators need to be able to conceptualize the positive and negative aspects of using devices and utilize them appropriately. And then as educators, we need to retain adequate knowledge of the technology we wish to introduce and help to motivate and engage students by doing so.